I'm muted. Oh well.
Okay, everybody's muted. Good to go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ending Procrastination. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And if you don't know me, I am Suzanne Taylor, a life and business coach for pretty much overwhelmed procrastinators and frustrated overachievers. So those people are kind of my people because I used to be one of those people until I started adopting all of the techniques and all of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm really excited to deliver this to you. All right, so let's jump right in and get started. I'm going to record tonight, so if you don't want to be on camera, just take yourself off camera, no worries. All right, I'm going to share my screen for our little PowerPoint here. And just give me a thumbs up if you can see that. All right, awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk tonight about 7 ways to end your procrastination. And really, when you do this, when you do these simple techniques, you will optimize every single area of your life. So it's not just for the business owner. It's not just for the stay-at-home mom. This is really for everyone, your kids included. So some of these tricks are so easy, you can easily teach a child to do them, and that helps things sink in with me. I know that when I teach something, it helps me be reinforced with those skills. So first, what you want to make sure you do, and here's some cute little pictures of my why I needed to conquer this. I needed to conquer it for my family because I was working way too many hours. I was spending way too many nights out of the house and not connected to my family. And I was feeling kind of overwhelmed. And I have 3 companies right now, and I wasn't delegating anything because I was a little bit of a perfectionist. So that was making me feel like an overwhelmed procrastinator, but I really wasn't procrastinating per se. I just had a lot on my plate, and that was making me not do anything. So you ever notice when you have a lot to do, it's hard to get started. Excuse me. So let's first get crystal clear on our why. And some of the things that a journalist would tell you to do was know how, where, who, when. Right? So if procrastination is your issue and you want to put an anti-procrastination policy in place, you need strategy. You need reasons behind why you do it and why you can't beat it. So why is it constantly showing up for you? Why do you fall prey to this every time? If you know the why behind your procrastination habit, you can deal with the cause of it instead of dealing with the result, if that makes sense. So putting things off is just a symptom. We want to go a little bit deeper to the cause of that imbalance. So I'm going to give you some for instances. And all right, you've asked your questions. Why, how, when, where, and who. Now, number 1 reason for procrastination, you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And this is important. If this is your why you're procrastinating, if we're going to grow in business and as a person, you have to step out of your comfort zone and into new territory. So, most people find this scary. Small children in a new playground to top surgeons tackling a giant tumor, right? It's scary. It's new territory. So if you're venturing out of that comfort zone, the fix is relatively simple. And that's acknowledging your fear and apply rational reframing voices in your head. So I'll give you a couple examples that I jotted down here in my notes. So when I was building my website, I was forced into building a new website because my old website, I had updated it past what it could handle and it crashed. So I was like in a panic. So that voice in my head came up as, oh, how am I going to get this done in time? There's a deadline. I need it up. Oh my gosh, what if this messes up, me attracting new clients or the launch that I was planning? And those self-doubts can quickly fill up your head no matter what you're trying to tackle. So I rationally said to myself, okay, I've tested this 3 times and it feels fine. It's working and chances are it's fine. So I've gone out of my way to include the contact information on my website. I've gone out of my way to test it. And I basically talked myself out of the fear. So we want to identify the fear-generating thought and reframe it in a rational way. And if the most you can do is be afraid and say hello to the fear, hey, I see you, fear. I acknowledge you, but I really want to skydive today. So I'm going to have to push past my fear of that initial jump out of the plane because I want to experience skydiving. So you can say, brain, it's not fear, it's excitement. It's excitement. How's that sound? That sounds much better than fear. Okay, next. When you feel that you're not good enough, and this is so common for so many women in particular, fearing that you're not good enough, it includes the imposter syndrome, lack of practice. Maybe, this is a new webinar for me tonight. I've never given this one before, but I wasn't scared to do it. I literally had 1 minute prep time because I ran in from picking my son up at school. So I've practiced webinars hundreds of times before. This one is no different. No reason to be afraid. How about the bad habit of comparing yourself to others? This is something that took me years to stop doing, years of comparison-itis. And finally, I just stopped looking at what other people who do what I do are doing. And that was super helpful. So let's reframe that fearful thought into an objective, realistic one. So if it's imposter syndrome or comparing, formulate a targeted plan to deal with it. And the fix is usually the same for venturing out of your comfort zone. It's reframing that fearful thought into an objective, realistic one, which for me with the comparison-itis, it was nobody's like me. Nobody does what I do in the exact way with the exact formula that I have. And even if that was possible, they don't have my exact list of tools, right? So I'm unique, and that stopped the comparison. Just like if, you're afraid of ghosts, rationally, even if they do exist, because I don't want to poo-poo that, even if they do exist, they can't hurt me. So that rational thought really helps. All right, if perfectionism, this is a big one for a lot of you, I know. Perfectionism creates procrastination. Procrastination is an intense source of shame to perfectionists. So when a perfectionist who wants everything done, everything perfect, a perfectionist would relish the day that the whole house was clean, dinner was made, and maybe caught up on all of your work all at the same time. That would be an amazing day for a perfectionist. And that deep-seated fear comes from possessing that tendency to be a perfectionist about everything you do. So perfectionists are usually afraid of failure in any form whatsoever. They're often really top experts in their field, but not seeing how others value their expertise. Also, overachievers also have psychological reasons for wanting to become a perfectionist, though almost all females have kind of been conditioned over our lifetimes to feel like we need to measure up in some way. And one crucial step for perfectionists that I've found is accepting accountability. So when we accept accountability and acknowledge, like, hey, I'm a reformed perfectionist. Done is better than perfect. Will you hold me accountable to XYZ by Friday? Asking for that help will help you get more things done. And I have a great book to recommend on perfectionism. It's a book written from the Christian perspective, a really wholesome, loving perspective. And, there's many books out there and many online experts right now. And a lot of them don't write with God in mind or the universe in mind, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're comfortable calling it. And this book is called Breaking Up with Perfect. The author's name is Amy Carroll. Her blog is amazing, and I'll share that with you in your email after today, or during the Q&A time. I can put the link in the comments for you. Here's what the book looks like on Amazon, and it's really a great read. And dealing with perfectionism, you'll be in a much, much better position to deal and let go with your procrastination. Okay, so another reason for procrastination is if you absolutely hate the thing that you're delaying or hiding from. So there's certain tasks in my business that I don't like. There's certain tasks in my home chores that I don't like. So what I did is I asked my husband, are you willing to take these 3 chores off my plate because I really don't like doing them? And, it was either that or I was going to hire a cleaning lady. So he opted up to step up and do those 3 things, and I never do them anymore. And it was a great, instead of feeling guilty about never cleaning the bathrooms. I don't like doing the bathrooms. I'll do any other part of the house. It's just not my jam. So now, instead of feeling guilty about not doing it and just delaying doing it, I outsourced it to my husband or a cleaning lady, whichever you prefer. And a couple things in my business that I was, putting aside. I hired a virtual assistant who's very reasonable, and now she creates graphics for me when I need them, or if I'm doing a new course or something like that, she'll put all the PDFs together for me and I don't have to spend time doing it. Amazing. It was the best investment. But you can only do stuff like that if you acknowledge, I hate doing that. I don't want to do it anymore. How am I going to outsource it or delegate it or put it on autopilot? Really, really important to actually know. All right. Addiction to pleasure. Now, this is a really big one for a lot of us who procrastinate about eating healthy or about not having our nightly glass of wine, or maybe that we procrastinate about exercising a little bit. So this is really a kind of complication of procrastination rather than a cause. And we're going to touch on it precisely because it compounds procrastination. Sometimes you can deal with the cause successfully, but others still find themselves sliding down that path of procrastination and being kind of stumped why it keeps happening. And the simple reasons are endorphins in your brain. Procrastination behavior taps into the pleasure center of your brain, and it becomes hard to let go of it. There's so much binge watching of TV, or maybe you're binge watching a show on Netflix, or you're playing a game of Candy Crush, rather than tackle a task you don't want to do. So the procrastination that you're doing is actually causing a release of endorphins, right? A TV show, an app, or maybe eating something you're not supposed to, making you get that release of endorphins in your brain. And once you do that routinely, to procrastinate from doing something you don't like, you're actually giving your brain something positive for not doing something that you don't like to do. And habits now have been created. So when I don't want to clean the bathroom, I sit down and watch a TV show, and that seems to be more important. So that positive endorphin release that you get from watching a TV show, or eating a bar of chocolate, or maybe doing a video game or something like that, that's actually fueling the procrastination. And habits, now I explain habits in the positive psychology way. So they're smooth pathways that are worn into your brain. So imagine neural pathways that are worn in, smooth, no grass, no weeds, no rocks, no nut, just a smooth highway. Versus a new habit is like walking through sticky mud. It's hard to navigate. You have to know that the path is safe in order to take it. So your brain stays on the safe, well-worn path of that addiction to pleasure. And this comes up a lot with food. And being addicted to sugar or caffeine or carbs or whatever your go-to food is, that endorphin release, that well-worn habit, can cause you to procrastinate on other things. And habits are no joke. Habits are not really easy to change, but it can be done. And what you need to do is kind of threefold. You need to create a new habit. And I have the list for you. Create a new habit. Stick to it at least every day for at least 60 days, no exceptions. Now, this new school of thought, years ago, it used to be believed that you had to do something 21 times for it to become a habit. And through research and study upon study, we found out that that is not true. You need to do something for at least 60 days for it to become a habit, without breaking it, without exceptions. So how do we do that? I'm going to get to that in a little bit. And then find some hacks to help you change the habit into a better one. And this is my jam. I love getting clear on the hack that will help you to your ultimate goal. That's why questioning your why comes up all the time. Determining why you want to grow your business, why you want to eat healthier, because that's going to help you stick to the new habit for 60 days. Because we're going to remind ourselves of the why every day for 60 days. That's the self-talk that you're going to be giving yourself. So this sort of why questioning, you might find out that your goal is just not important enough to keep you committed, right? So my goal of having clean bathrooms wasn't enough to keep me committed to doing it. Why? Because nobody sees it except me. So it wasn't a strong enough why to keep me committed to doing it. Or you might discover with a little bit of surprise that it's the wrong goal for you altogether. Maybe my goal is to just not clean at all, right? And I'm really making it simple with the cleaning habit, but you can take this to any habit. So it really makes you look at, if eating healthy is your goal and it's too hard for you and you keep slipping off, maybe maybe it's not that important to you. Maybe your health isn't that important. Maybe there hasn't been a strong enough reason or a scare in your health to make you push for that. And maybe when you look with clarity into your motivations, what are your motivations? Maybe you're actually preferring just to keep it a dream, and that's something to acknowledge. Now, I'm going to recommend this. This is a really awesome lady. She has a mini course. Her website's called luckybitch.com. And one of her, this free workshop that I send out to everybody, it's a great free workshop on manifestation. And it's a broken down, simple version of the law of attraction. And her accent is charming. She's funny. The way she delivers the course just comes via email. And I'll put that link at the end or in your email, and you can sign up for it. I don't make any money from this. This is just a free course that she gives out. I took it. I loved it. And I love sending people to it because a lot of it focuses on your money mindset, and sometimes 50% of the time that's an issue for a lot of us. But it teaches this really cool hack to the law of attraction, and I think you would like it. All right, next up, this is her book, and that's more for the business owner. So if you're a business owner and you're looking to release those money blocks, this is basically a book version of her $8,000 program. So that's another hack. Don't spend $8,000 on a coaching program when there's a book that delivers all the same content. Read it with a friend, get somebody to hold you accountable. And if you're going to read this book, just talk to me. I've read it twice. It's awesome. And I'll hold you accountable to doing some of the things that she asks. Okay. Next up, next solution, the 2-minute rule. Okay, now this is not an easy hack for procrastination, but I challenged a group of women last night to this because it was the topic of my meeting I had last night. I keep my topics the same for a whole week. Let's look at this hack a little closer. So the beauty of a hack is that it tricks your brain. I'm all about tricking your brain. So 2-minute rule for every to-do that lands in your inbox right here, not the email inbox, this inbox, immediately assess the time that you expect it to take. If it's less than 2 minutes, do it right now. So this is huge. This I learned from Mel Robbins. And if you don't know Mel Robbins, read her book, The 5-Second Rule. Amazing. This will get you moving. This is how I get so much done. People ask me, Sue, how do you do it all? How do you get all these things done? This is it right here. The 2-minute rule. And if I start to procrastinate, I pull in Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. And she discovered this hack when she was writing a book and she was procrastinating. She wanted to get this book done. She had a deadline, blah, blah, blah. And she decided, okay, 5-second rule. When I start to feel myself procrastinating, I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and do it. So that was the basis of a whole nother book for her and a really big book deal because she was a procrastinator. So 2-minute rule. And then if you find yourself really procrastinating on something, do that little countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, call the person. Or I delay calling people all the time, procrastinate on that. I have 12 Post-its on my desk right now of people I need to call back. Definitely a procrastination thing. Sit down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, dial the phone. Just get it done. If it's less than 2 minutes, do it right now. Clothes, putting them away, dishes in the sink, straightening up your kids' stuff, whatever it is. All right. Step 3, trick your brain into taking action, right? Just trick your neurons into taking action. So after you've done the 5-second rule, if that doesn't work, what you need to do is go back to your why, start over at the beginning. Okay, why do I need to get this done? Okay, yes. It's going to take this much time? Yes. Then the 5-second rule again. That's how you trick your brain into taking action. Now, this will not happen tomorrow. You will have to practice this, just like yoga, just like meditation, just like mindfulness. This is a practice, and it's not about getting it perfect tomorrow. Just start doing it. Okay, now, oh, there's Mel Robbins' thing. Sorry, 5-second rule. I'm a little behind. Okay, one task at a time. One task at a time. Overwhelm is super common when we're starting something new. For example, large projects make me procrastinate because I don't break them down into smaller tasks. So I learned when I get a really big project or a really big presentation, I pull out a sheet of paper and I write all the little tasks that need to be done. So if your goal is to get healthier or to start exercising, write down all the small little things that will help you on that task and do one thing at a time. You cannot, for example, lose 35 pounds in one day or a week or a month. But you can choose to go on a 20-minute walk every day. Just start there. Start there. So overwhelm, break any large goal down into smaller goals. Number 3, if it's still too daunting, repeat that process. Repeat the process of those goals, of the little tasks, and break them down into smaller and smaller mini goals. Really powerful. And those small steps add up every day. My coach gave me a really, really amazing analogy. If you get 1% better every day for a year, at the end of the year, you, because of the law of physics and the law of, I think it's accelerated perception, 1% better every day, at the end of a month, right, you're 30% better. At the end of a year, you're 365% better. At the end of 3 years, oh my God. At the end of 3 years, you'd be an amazing business person, healthy person, whatever you're trying to achieve. So breaking those down into smaller things and doing 1% better than yesterday. Back to the weight loss example, mapping daily progress. Same with exercise. This is my favorite fitness bracelet here. It's a Fitbit. It tracks my steps. It tracks my sleep, tracks my breathing, blood pressure, all kinds of good information right to an app on my phone. Love it. And that keeps me accountable. The days I don't wear it, I definitely sit more. Why? Because I have an alarm set on my Fitbit to go off every 15 minutes to remind me to stand up and take a break. So we've been online here for about 30 minutes now. We should all stand up. Just give a little wiggle to your legs, arms up in the air, shake it off. Maybe do a couple squats, bend over, touch your toes, right? Every 15 minutes, we need to do that. Roll your shoulders back, move your neck around, especially when we're sitting at the computer, right? What happens when we sit at the computer? You start to go like this, and then we're tired and lethargic, which makes procrastination worse as well. All right. Step 5, this is my favorite. Change your environment. So that can mean one of two things. We're going to break this down a little bit further. So working in bed instead of at your desk. or working on the sofa, working outside. I do this all the time in the nice weather. My office here in my house is attached to my porch. I'll take my laptop out on the porch and work outside in the nice weather. Getting away from my house, going to my office, going to Starbucks, being around different noises keeps me out of procrastination mode. Going to a park or the library. The free library in Philadelphia has some of the most amazing study rooms, and one of my friends was telling me she goes there all the time to work because it's so inspiring. Like, never even thought of that. So suit your personality to your work preferences. If noise and people are around you all the time, maybe going somewhere quiet would inspire you, keep you out of getting distracted. So procrastination is all kind of making sense now, right? It changing locations, one spot sitting here for me might be physically painful for a long time, and changing the state of my body actually helps me stay more focused on my work. Maybe a new chair. Get up, like I said, every 15 minutes, set your Fitbit for an alarm. But now I also want to say, okay, this is just a little office chair that I bought my husband because he sits all the time. Before we get to step 6, I want to talk about a little bit more about changing locations. So not just physical locations. I want to ask you, when you're procrastinating, if you could change mental locations. So this is an activity that my coach had me do just a couple weeks ago. I was describing how transitions make me procrastinate. So when I'm here at work, like I am today, as soon as this webinar is over and I hit done, I have to get up from here and go out in my house and be ready to go out to dinner with friends tonight with all of our kids. And I know that as soon as I get up and walk out there, that my brain will still be like, don't forget to email everyone. Don't forget to send so-and-so this. And I was always doing that. So I was procrastinating starting my family life, starting dinner, starting homework, because my brain was still behind me on the work tasks. And I was really stuck. And he gave me this really powerful transition activity, and I want to teach it to you before we move on. So when I'm here in my office, and you can use this if you've had a stressful day, you can do it on the way home from work. If you have a drive, from work to home, use that as your transition time. You're going to repeat to yourself, release, release, release. Release the stress of my day. Release the thoughts of work. Release the webinar I just did. Release the people that were on it. Release the people who registered and weren't on it that you have to remember to email. Release all of that and physically shake it off your body. And then, how do I want to show up at my next place? Where my body is going next, how do I want to show up? Funny, alert, present, and interactive. They're my words. So I want to go and be with my family present, funny, interactive, and like there, not still at work. So that was really huge for me to actually do that physical transition activity. I'm leaving work behind, and now I'm going to go be wife, mom, friend. And I hope that helps you. All right, step 6, work with a coach or an accountability partner, or simply announce your intentions to the world. Girl, this is powerful. When you're making a change in your life, tell people. This holds you accountable. I don't care whether you're joining a gym, starting to exercise, healing from something, starting a new business venture, maybe doing a side hustle. You're working a full-time job and you want to start a side hustle, right? Tell people what you're doing, and this keeps you accountable. And maybe even join a group. So there's lots of groups on Facebook, and there's actually a meetup group. I'm going to show you that on the next slide. So meetup is great. If you're not on meetup, I had a meetup group for years, and they actually have meetup groups for procrastinators. Who knew? I did a little searching around, and I'll share that link with you. The most significant advantage with a group lies in the fact that if one person isn't available to help you with something, or hold you accountable or cheer you on, whatever you need, there's other people in the group that have experienced what you're going through or are going through that. So I think I love when I teach my positive psychology stuff in a group, because the group of 10 people interact with each other and they learn from each other, not just from me. My networking group that meets, it's not just me talking. Everybody talks and everybody contributes, and there's learning that happens not just from me, but from the group mentality. And I love that. That's something that I want to encourage you to do as well. And that accountability partner can be a peer, a friend, or maybe somebody at work who looks up to you. All right, next up, the difference between a mentor and a coach. Coaches are somebody who's task-oriented, and a mentor provides grounding long-term relationship to support you through your personal and professional life. And why I think that's different, and why I consider myself more of a mentor than a coach, is because even though I have coach training, and I want to encourage you to find a mentor, and a mentor isn't necessarily somebody that you have to pay. It isn't necessarily, one of my mentors doesn't even know that he's a mentor of mine. He is somebody I listen to, I follow, I read every book he writes, I listen to his podcast. He doesn't even know that I exist, except being on his email list. But he has made a profound difference in my life. So find yourself somebody who leads by that example. And if you need help finding somebody for your particular procrastination issue, tell me. I'll help you navigate that way of finding the right person. All right, we don't need to talk about that. Step 7, surround yourself with winners. This is huge. We've all heard that you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? I'm not saying anything new. Spend time with people who are living their best life. If you spend time with people who are eating crap, drinking crap, thinking crap, and I hate to be harsh, you're going to start to be like them, because if you're in a group mindset and people in the group are, you know that happens. When you go out to dinner with a group of people like I'm going tonight, it takes a really strong person to go to a restaurant and order what they know they're supposed to order without, I don't feel bad about it anymore. I have food allergies, food sensitivities, and I have a certain way of eating that makes my body feel better, makes my mind feel better. And you know what? I could go out to dinner with anybody and have them criticize, oh, what? That's what you're eating out at a restaurant? Yes. And I'm proud of that fact, because I honor the choices I've made for myself, and I've walked the journey of feeling like I couldn't make the choices that I wanted to because of the group that I was with. And I ditched that procrastination on that, and amazing things can happen. All right. Success is based on your learning style. So now I want to dive in just a little bit with some of my hacks to help you. And if you're a audio learner, getting a book on Audible will be really helpful. There's also, if you're a visual learner, there's a great information out there, and I'm going to take you a little bit deeper if you want to go ditching your procrastination in an upcoming $97 course I'm going to offer. And if you want to hear more about that, just let me know. I'm not going to go into any more than that. If you're a linear learner, there's actually a really good book. If you prefer reading your stuff, this is an amazing book. It's kind of funny, and it's from a series of books called the 5-Minute Self-Help series, and they're really quick, easy reads, and really inexpensive too. So I love that one. All right, so now here's the 10 tips. Use timers. Enable browser and mobile apps to block distracting websites. This is something that I put into place on my desktop computer, which we're on right now. I added a timer to measure my screen time. And also at the end of the week, it tells me how much time I spent on Facebook, how much time I spent on LinkedIn. And ooh, that was shocking the first week. Way too much time on social media. So rather than try to just quit it altogether, I made the commitment 1% better every day. So 16% reduction in my social media time over the past 30 days. Amazing. And that was really significant for me because I'm on social media a lot for my business, but I was finding more and more that I didn't really need to be. So really huge. I complimented myself with that by saying to everybody I know, 16% reduction in screen time over the last 30 days. And I'm proud of that. I'm really proud of the fact that I'm watching less TV, spending less time on my phone, because instead of reading 4 books last month, I read 5. Yay. All right. Next up, compliment yourself, or go smaller. Go smaller. Breaking those tasks down. All right. Number 6, anticipate your plan and curves in the road. So if you're going to dinner with friends, look at the menu ahead of time, plan out what you're going to have, commit to yourself, and then tell your partner that that's what you're having. Because then if you have a partner like mine, who I really love that he holds me accountable, we will get to dinner, and if I try to order a cheeseburger with French fries and a beer, he'll look at me like, oh, that's not what you said you were going to order. And I love that because that reminds me, oh yes, I made the commitment to eat a little differently. Setting the regular work hours helps. That way you're not tired when you're trying to work. Realize that the more tired you grow, the easier it is to procrastinate. And then you're like, oh my God, I worked 12 hours today and I only got 4 hours worth of work done. So why didn't you just work 4 hours? Banish fear with knowledge. So what that means is you're feeling the fear, acknowledge the fear, talk to the fear, and then put it behind you. Put it behind you. Procrastination and fear are partners. And trust me, if you recognize the fear and that maybe I'll never conquer being afraid of that particular thing, but practice will make it feel more comfortable. Just like public speaking. You know, people, that's the number one fear in, I think it was 99% of people surveyed. Their number one fear was public speaking, not death, public speaking. That they would rather be in the coffin at a funeral than give the eulogy. Yes, I've heard more than one person that afraid of public speaking. So by acknowledging the fear, and it's something I had to conquer, to get on stage and talk to 8 people or sit in a room with 20 people, or one time got on stage and talked to 250 people. And I was the only speaker that wasn't a doctor. Talk about nervous. I was in the bathroom doing power poses for 20 minutes, but I knew that what I had to say was funny, insightful, and motivating to the crowd. And all the doctors that were talking were medical, analytical. I conquered the fear with knowledge. Conquered the fear that, I'm going to make a fool of myself. Well, who cares? They'll laugh. The doctors had them falling asleep. I definitely won't have them falling asleep. And repeating that knowledge to myself got me past the procrastination of actually doing it and maybe backing out of that. All right. So now we're wrapping up. You can work with me. I'll hold you accountable on this. And like I said, I'm going to offer a course on procrastination and doing all these things step by step, and that'll be coming out very soon. I'm going to stop the recording of tonight's class and take some Q&A time. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for Ending Your Procrastination. I'm Suzanne Taylor, Life and Business Coach. You can reach me at www.suzannetaylorlifecoach.com. Have a great night. All right.